went wrong. So once that is up, I'm gonna have to delete one of these live streams because the settings were just all over the place. There was stuff popping up on my screen that I had no idea, I've never seen before. But it's a very warm welcome and sending you love from the Sunshine State. And I have my nails all yellow for this because I was not going to come to the Sunshine State and not have bright yellow nails. So, as you know, I am in Florida and I had to figure out, by the way, it's my first time here. So any Floridians, please let me know any ideas on what to do or where to eat or what's traditional over here. Like, I've always dreamt of coming here since I was a child. My parents never ever had the money to come here, ever. And I just always said I begged my parents to bring me here and they never did. Of course, I'll give you a clue though, I'm not anywhere near a child place, so I'm not anywhere near like the theme parks or anything. Although they sound amazing, I just think it's a little bit too hot for theme parks for me. I have been laying out in the sun today, but it's absolutely roasting. So at this time of the day, I've just come in. I'm gonna go to the gym later on. My body is still trying to settle down and get used to the time difference. So I usually do this around 7 p.m. BST, which is like the UK and European time. But I had to figure out, I was like, if I usually go live at 7 p.m, then it's obviously going to be very, very different over here. So I had to go via Eastern time. So it's obviously 2 p.m. here. Back home, it's like 7 p.m. My body does not know who or what it is right now. The flight was hella fucking long to get here, but I'm super grateful to be here. So just let me know if you're joining down below. I did accidentally start the stream early on the other one, and then I've clicked out of it, and I'm going to be deleting that one anyway because I was like, this is weird. Like, this setup is so weird. I've not seen these stuff before that was all popping up, but I've got some notes here. So I'm gonna, if you see me referring this way, then that's what I'm doing. I got mummy jacked this morning. So just for those who are like, what's mummy jacking? I didn't know what this was either until someone did it to me. So I got mummy jacked this morning because I was talking about my jet lag. And this person commented on, so I put like a post up this morning. I went for a walk on the beach this morning. Obviously I was up at stupid o'clock because my body clock is like 5 hours ahead. So I went for a walk on the beach and my joints were really hurting from the flight yesterday. It was like over a 9-hour flight. Obviously I do get up and move around, but my joints were hurting a little bit. So I was kind of like, oh yeah, my body feels really old today because like my joints hurt. Obviously I've been doing quite a lot more training as well. I did my long run before I flew out here because I'm also training for a half marathon. So I got that long run out of the way because I didn't want to have to think about it while I was here. So obviously then my knees were still recovering from that run. And then obviously I sat on my ass for like 9 hours. So then she comments on my Facebook and she's like, oh my God, I just had a 12-hour like road trip with my 2 kids. And let me tell you, it was so exhausting. I'm having a rest day today. So yeah, I hope they let me sleep. And I was kind of like, really? I was like, in the UK, we call these people like a Tommy Two Shits. Hey, lovely. Hey, Gaza. We call them a Tommy Two Shits because if you've had one shit, they've had 2. And if you have a headache, they have a migraine. If you have a backache, they've broken their back. It's always like one above. And I'm not saying all parents are like this because they're definitely not. But I think you and I can probably agree that a lot of parents out there are very much kind of, oh, you don't have that problem. I have it 50 times worse. And, you know, I know this person not kind of well, but I know this person. And I was kind of like, I thought this person was quite fun. But I just found that comment a little bit like, oh, like major eye roll. Like I can just imagine someone reading it, like anyone from here reading that and just being like, oh, here we go. Like you've obviously got it like 50 times worse. So I just commented back, and usually I'm quite patient with these people. I have really been working on my patience a lot in life. And I felt like, no, this person's like pissed me off now. So I was like, well, luckily I'm never going to have that problem. Issue that most people experience at some point in, you've come here, like you've had a longer journey than everyone else, and you've done it with 2 kids, and now you want like a medal or something. I'm like, no, I have a right to talk about how tired I am. Thank you very much. So that was my mummy jacking. Usually I don't really have a lot of parents on my Facebook. I have obviously a lot of friends who are parents. However, they're not like entitled, and they don't talk about it like constantly or try and make other people feel bad about like different lifestyle choices. They're like really cool people, but this person just grinds my goat because I've been up literally since 4:30 in the morning, like literally milling around trying to find a shop open to get a coffee, and nothing was available. Couldn't go to the gym, and I was kind of like, ugh. Anyway, so that was about my jet lag. That was about getting mummy jacked. Hi Kat, how are you doing? Let me know how your weekend has been, guys, because obviously I'm really disorientated. I keep reminding myself it's Sunday, especially being up so early. I was kind of like, oh yeah, it's actually Sunday, and I don't know how things go around here. Like, our business is a little bit slower to open. My husband and I, we went out for breakfast this morning, and we found this really cute little cafe place that we like sat outside, and I'm not joking, we were the only people outside. It was 8 o'clock in the morning. We were, bearing in mind I've been up for like 4 hours by now, we're like the only people sitting there having breakfast. You could hear a pin drop, and then we got talking to the waiter, and he was like, yeah, like we kind of, everything's a little bit, you know, we take a longer time to get awake over here. Now, I'm very lively in the morning. I'm naturally a morning person. I'm not saying you have to be or anything like that. I'm naturally quite an energetic person in the morning, and I just couldn't imagine like not being up early. I don't know, like for me a lie-in is like 8 o'clock back home. So bearing in mind like it's 8 a.m. here in the US on the East Coast. Back home it was like lunchtime, so my husband and I we're starving by now. I was kind of like, I am starving. I was like, come on, let's go, it's time to eat. And people are like, yeah, they take their time getting ready. It's kind of like 10 a.m. open time. And I was like, 10 a.m.? I was like, are you serious? Like, what the fuck? Maybe because I'm from like a big city and, you know, you're just always awake. But then maybe it's a good time for me to come and like, you know, like chill out and stuff like that. Hey, from Arizona. Wish I could chat, but I'm busy. Female child-free truck driver. Hey. Of course, yeah. Hope you're just living your best life, whatever it is that you're doing. Obviously, I know that the time zones are really, really different. I've just stuck to the time that I would have done in the UK had I been home. So I know back home it's just gone 7. It's just gone 7:10. And I've just had lunch. So I don't know what this jet lag's going to be like on the way back home, because I'm going to probably wake up in the middle of the night and want like dinner or something like that. I wish I was in Florida. Yeah, I've always wanted to come down here. Obviously when I was a kid it was all about Disney World, but I think Florida's a really big place for a British person to go. Like, British people think of it like, oh my god, Florida, oh, you know, it's like a big deal for us. I don't know what the mindset is around you guys, like where you guys travel. Is there anywhere in particular where it's like if you go there it's like, oh my god, like, so all my friends and family used to go. And I used to be so jealous because I'd be like, oh my God, I'd love to go to the theme parks. I obviously used to be a really big fan of theme parks when I was much, much younger. I do still like them, obviously. But where you get to my age, you're kind of a bit like, oh yeah, you know what? They're great fun, but I don't really want to be standing in a queue for 3 hours in this heat because it is intense. We got by the poolside at 10 a.m. and we only stayed there for 2 hours. And I couldn't lay there any longer. Like, I've got spots coming up on my face, literally from the sunscreen. So you put sunscreen on and then you sweat it off. I've never known this kind of heat before. And I think I'm trying not to be that miserable British person on holiday, because British people are known for being miserable and moaning about everything. I'm not moaning because we will never get this weather back home. Just watch out for the gators. I know, I was thinking about this. Right, we've already seen lizards, and there's like a little iguana just chilling around our poolside, just walking around as you do. I have seen them before because I've been to Mexico, and I think there's a lot of obviously Mexican and Cuban influence over here, and South American influence, which is great because I absolutely love South America. I love the food, I love the culture. I think the people are very, very warm and they're very welcoming. So I kind of feel like it's kind of a mixed bag. So I'm down in the south, and yeah, obviously I have not seen a lot of it yet. So this is only like our first full day because we arrived very late yesterday. And then the airport security was a very long process. It's definitely not like that in Europe, but fair play. I get why it's the case. So Kat says, I think LA is something people hype up a lot least where I am, getting to an age where I just want nature and retreat atmosphere. Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from in that sense as well. I always like the idea of a retreat because I think it's what I need deep down. I think that's what my soul needs, but I'm always like want to be on the go and want to be doing something, and then I'll get to a retreat and be like, oh, I'm actually quite bored, even though the whole point is that you relax. But I think I struggle with that, definitely. I kind of want to be on the go, want to be with the action, walking around, really active. But I also have been to Los Angeles as well. Many years ago, it was like over a decade ago, I went to Los Angeles as well. But I didn't really spend that long. I was only there for like 2 days because it was when I was a flight attendant, and I was only there for like a transit, like 2 days. And then we went, but I've been twice. And I just did the Hollywood and all the typical like touristy things that you would do as well. And I kind of know where you're coming from. Obviously, each to their own, because everyone sees places differently, and some people just connect with the place and they're like, this is me, like 100%. I felt like that in Peru. I felt like that in South America. But they're kind of like, yeah, this is me. I felt like that in Hungary. I love Amsterdam for that. So I've only got 3 or 4 like genuinely live here tomorrow. Guys, I can literally see my grays coming out. This is not a vibe, but this is the vibe. This is how we roll. But yeah, I'm interested to the rollerblading or something like that. I haven't been for a run outside yet, but I don't know if that's a suicide mission. So yeah, in the heat, I'd have to get up really, really, really early, which, hey, I'm up early anyway. Let me know, where do you guys like, where do you really want to go? Where have you been that you think is amazing? What's on your vision board, or what's on your bucket list, anywhere in particular around the world that you're like, I've got to go here one day, or that you've been and you felt instantly connected to, and you were like, this is my place, I can definitely live here tomorrow. It's not just a case of like, I've visited, oh yeah, that's great, because there's loads of places I've been to in the world where I'm like, this is an amazing place, but I wouldn't live here. The place, but I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'd live here. Like location wise, I'm not 100% sure I'd be able to cope being, in certain places around the world, or some of them were really far from the UK, where like Australia, I loved Australia, but I was just like, it's just a little bit too far out. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you can't just hop back home. It's not that easy. But I also wanted to touch up on, I'm probably going to have to edit my title after this, about industries where men benefit from women's insecurities. I was talking about this the other day, and I was like, I need to touch up on this on my live. Let me just go through the comments. I went to Tahiti last year. It was the best. I had to save up so long, but it was so worth it. So peaceful and such warm people. That sounds amazing. Honestly, I haven't actually heard from a lot of people who have been there. So it's really unusual to come across someone who has been there. But a lot of people I speak to, it's kind of like, oh, have you been Bali? And they name all these like kind of what I think are more like Instagrammable places where people go for the gram because they're like going to get nice pictures, or because everybody else has been there, or because of a specific hashtag. And I don't know if I could, yeah, I've never really been into places like that. Like for me, Bali, for example, is one of those places that so many entrepreneurs go to, especially like spiritual entrepreneurs or vegans or stuff like that. And I'm like, even when I see all their pictures, I'm like, I don't really feel that pull. Like I've never really been like, I need to go to Bali, like I have to go. It's just not really, yeah, it's not really my place. But if you've been and you like it, each to their own, of course. So let's just think about for a second, because I was thinking about this the other day, because somebody on my Facebook made this post about how there's certain marketing techniques in certain industries where basically they pry on women's insecurities. So I think we can all think of industries where women's insecurities are made to be like marketed to the point where we can make money off them. So for example, like beauty industry, I think health and fitness is a massive one. I think health and fitness would probably be the first on that list. Like the diet culture and all of that. Just think about all these industries where if women's insecurities were not highlighted to high heavens, these people wouldn't get paid. And usually, like, if you look right at the top of this pyramid, it's usually like a company run by men. And I literally said to this woman on my Facebook, I commented underneath her post and I was like, when women are content confident and sure of themselves, men don't get paid. That's just a fact. And it made me realize, and it gave me this idea to talk about this on this live, of how this is the case with child-free women as well within the community. Obviously child-free people in general, so whatever gender you identify as, you can feel like this still, but I'm just going to highlight women for now, because I think we can all agree that women get the harder, we get more of the brunt of the whole, you know, you're not a mum, you know, how dare you be free, how dare you make your own choices, and yada yada yada, everything that comes with it. And a lot of child-free women, when they're confident within themselves, when they know who they are, when they know what they want, when they've got like these, you know, you know your path in life, you know what you're aiming for, you've got goals that you want to work towards, or you might have a vision board that you have at home and you're working towards those visions, whether that's to go on a round the world trip, whether it's to pay for a holiday, whether it's to buy a new house or a second house, a holiday home, a car, whatever it is. When you have those goals in place, it will trigger a lot of people and it will piss off a lot of people. And those people who do get pissed off by you doing these things for yourself, they're not always aware of why they are pissed off. They're not always aware of why they're annoyed by you. So a lot of the time you'll see, like, if you've probably experienced this, all of your, like, any friends or family, any colleagues that have said something derogatory to you about your child-free lifestyle, it's come from a place of they wish they had that option themselves, or they wish they had thought about it. It's not always evil. I don't believe it's always from an evil, horrible place. I do believe it's just from a place that even they're not aware of. So it's triggered some sort of insecurity where they don't even know where it's clicked from. It's just happened and they're not aware of it themselves, which of course is never your fault. If somebody is lacking that self-awareness, that has got nothing to do with you. Absolutely nothing. That is their lack of awareness, not you. So if you are content, if you are confident in who you are, what you're doing, your goals, yep, Kat, your goals don't include babies. That's it. Fact. Hashtag facts. Goals don't include babies. You know what you want. People will try and make you doubt yourself, because the men at the top ain't going to get paid. If you are not doubting yourself, people aren't getting paid. Society makes money off of women's insecurities. It's been like this since the beginning of time. Our insecurities are a money-making scheme, basically. So any insecurity, it can be about who you are, it can be about how you look, it can be about your size or your shape, or how you know, your anything from your physical appearance, from your face to your hair to your body. Any type of doubt at all or insecurity, someone's trying to make money off it. So it's so important. That's why I'm going to go back around to what I was saying. It is so important to work consistently on your confidence. Not just like, yeah, this makes me confident and I did it last week and it makes me feel great. Boom. It's an ongoing thing. And I'm going to say this as someone who's in their mid-30s. You're constantly evolving. So it's like a kind of a snake that's shedding its skin. You're constantly renewing who you are. Now that's not pretending to be something you're not. It's renewing who you are, self-development, and it happens naturally. I'm not saying you need to go out and buy loads of self-development books, unless of course you want to. And it's not from a place of, oh, I'm not good enough, or I need to better myself. Not from that, because that can be quite disempowering. And I want you to understand that you're quite worthy. You're worthy of who you are right now. It's not something you have to do. You don't have to constantly work on yourself. You don't have to go and buy all the self-help books. But if you're constantly evolving and you're constantly shedding that new skin, that old skin, and then renewing yourself, it will sometimes feel really shit. I'll be honest with you guys. It's going to feel like, oh, this is horrible, because what happens is you have to mourn your old self. And also that's how you might have found this with yourselves as well. Let me know down below if you've experienced this, whether you're on the live or you're catching this up, whatever. You kind of start losing friends. You'll start losing friends. You might have family members who you piss off a little bit. And that's not your fault. That's not because you're a horrible person. That's not because you've turned into a bitch. That's not because of any of that. It's simply because you have evolved. And if it's something that is better for you, then you've got to think about yourself. You've got to put yourself forward, because you cannot pour into from an empty cup. You can't be there for your friends and family and whoever it is, or your partner in life, if you're not pouring into yourself and putting yourself first, your wants and needs, and working on your confidence and whatever it is that you want to work on for you. If you can't put yourself first, other people can't really come first, because then you're just going to find yourself burnt the F out. And I think this is what is so highly conditioned with women in society today, is that burnout, when women do experience it, burnout is like praised almost. It's almost like, oh, you're doing so well, you're so strong, oh, you're so empowering. And actually, if we look at who those people are, who we're calling strong and empowering and inspirational, a lot of the time those women are burnt out. They're just like pouring from an empty cup. They're giving all their energy to they're pouring into everybody else. And a lot of them are mothers. And this is why motherhood is seen as this amazing thing in life, which it can be for some people, that's fair enough. It's seen as this, element of, I don't even know the right words. It's just seen as this epitome of life. If you're not doing this, then you're not living. And so many of these women are burnt out, they're struggling mentally, they're exhausted mentally and physically, and society's praising them, and society's being like, oh, but you're such a good person, and you're great, continue, go, keep it going. Nobody ever says to women, like, why don't you just take a break? Why don't you do something for yourself? Or why don't you go and buy yourself a new X, Y, whatever it is that you think is great for you? For me, I'd buy myself a holiday. Why don't you go on holiday? Why don't you go on a spa treatment? It's always like, oh, can you do a little bit more? Oh, you're doing really well. You're burnt out, but you know what? You're so strong. And this is what I feel like society's constantly telling us all the time. You need to be breaking yourself into billion pieces in order to be somewhat successful. You have to be breaking yourself into all these pieces and pouring into everybody else and being burnt out and stressed at work. And if you're not stressed, I tell you what, anyone here, I don't know what your lifestyles are like. Obviously, you're child-free by choice, but you might have 0 to low stress, depending on the work that you do. And if you do, you'll realize how pissed off you make other people when you're not stressed. Even if you're just not stressed by nature, not rubbing it in, not writing it all over Instagram or Facebook, like none of that. I mean, like, if you're just chilled, like people don't like you, and you're not very popular. And that's simply because, and it's taken me a while to really fully understand this and understand that there's actually nothing wrong with me, because I feel like there's a lot of other women who probably either feel like this, have felt like this before, or something along those lines, is that if you're not breaking your back, if you're not stressed out, if you're not stressed up to your eyeballs, if you're not like this chaotic mental person, like mentally chaotic, stressed up to your eyeballs from life, from work, from people around you, that warrants a lot of praise from people. That seems to be what people want to see. They want to see this chaotic person. And I just find it weird that people praise that. It's just really, really weird. So personally, I know that my mental health does not benefit from seeking out self-help online books and so on. I find it contributes to shaky sense of self for me. Yeah, it depends on what works for you. Honestly, it's whatever works for you. Not like, I find that sometimes when you get self-help books, some people can be in a cycle of, oh, I constantly need the next self-help book. If I don't have the next self-help book, then I'm not gonna succeed. And by all means, you do not need to do that. You don't need to keep sharpening your knife, if you will, for loss of a better expression. You don't need to keep sharpening what you have. By nature, life is kind of gonna do that with you anyway. But if that's what you want to do, or if you find the books help, then by all means go for it. But you don't need to constantly be doing that. You don't need, like, once you finish one book, you don't need to like go straight on Amazon and be like, do I need another self-help book? Like, no, definitely not. Yeah, they want to see hysteria. That is literally it. They want to see hysteria, and when they don't see it, it's highly either offensive to them, triggering, I don't know what it is. So that was that. And I've noticed it again I think I noticed it again when I shared like what happened on Facebook today, when I shared that post of me like, oh hi, I'm on holiday, blah blah blah, like the jet lag is like really blah blah, and then, you know, someone else is bang straight up, they're there like, you know, oh well, mine is better, mine is worse, whatever, I'm more stressed than you, I'm more tired than you. By all means, if you want to make this a competition, who's the most tired, by all means go ahead. I'm not getting involved in this. That's why I just, like, I said to her, like, I can't relate, that's a shame. I'm not gonna have a competition with you who's more tired or whose flight was longer than whose. Like, her journey was like longer than mine and she wanted some sort of an award for it. I think what people do is, when parents say that, is they want you to be like, oh my god, that must have been so difficult, I'm so sorry, like, you're such a strong woman. I'm not doing that. I'm sorry, I don't pander to people like that. It's just not in my nature. And to Miggy, who thinks that I'm a dude, I might be, who knows, I don't know. What do you think? They, them. I you know what, I might start using that. When I was in fitness, I wanted to, because people, I'm not in fitness anymore, by the way. I've retired from the fitness industry for various reasons. That's a post for another day. I am not getting into it today. But one of the reasons, it's not the reason, but one of them was because there's so much misogyny still in the so much misogyny in the industry. And also it works off people's insecurities, which I don't agree with, because we were talking about that earlier on. I don't know, whenever you guys popped onto the live, I mentioned earlier on that I don't like any kind of industry which basically makes money off people's insecurities. And it doesn't matter how, oh, I've got hair everywhere. And it doesn't matter how much you go into that, how much positivity you try and bring into it, is that I felt that I was always pushed to sell from a point of making someone insecure, and I don't do that shit. No fucking way. That is not who I am. I would hate to be on the receiving end of that. I've been on the receiving end of that. Any women on here, you've more than likely been on the receiving end of some sort of marketing tactic which has made you feel shit in order for you to buy that product or service. I am not getting involved in that. So actually what I was going back to is, a lot of people would be really discriminatory towards the female personal trainers. They would either want a female personal trainer because they felt that I was going to be their like slash therapist. No, thank you. They either felt I was going to do that, or they would say, I don't want a female personal trainer because they're weak. So I was kind of like, well, maybe I should just not say who I am and what I identify with. So I really like the fact that you asked that question, Miggy. Thank you very much. I do think I look a bit, you know what? I've got a brother and I actually look like him more today. So yeah, I know, it's cool, right? So, hey Shakir, I hope you're well and had a good weekend. I keep forgetting it's Sunday. I'm going to be like so out of this, like so out of sync with everything. So I might be a bit delirious. I'd love to hear some insider knowledge on the oh my God, I could be here for weeks, literally. I would be here with this live stream would be like 4 million hours. Like I don't even know where to start with it. But this would obviously, I am thinking about doing a video about it, like a pre-recorded video, so that I can just there's like a lot to say and I wouldn't want to deviate from anything. And also I would want to say it from my perspective and not necessarily from a perspective of like sheer negativity, because I learned a lot and I met some amazing people, and I would hate for somebody else to like watch that video and be like, oh my God, I better not, because I don't want it to come from that. I don't want to go and point out to all the other women like, oh my God, don't go into fitness because it was really bad. And I'm not that type of person. You know, everybody has their own experiences, and the bottom line is what works for one person doesn't work for another person. And that is the whole thing about life in general, with absolutely everything, especially lifestyle. As you know, this is a child-free lifestyle channel. We're all here because we want to live a child-free lifestyle, but other people don't get that. Other people think that we're psycho and we're weird and we've got something wrong with us, or we're missing some hormones or some, I don't know, something. But we think it's the most normal thing ever. So I would hate for it to, you know, I don't want to do it. I don't want it to sound negative is what I'm saying. Even though it might end up potentially sounding like that, I would have to put like a disclaimer on it to be like, look guys, this isn't, I'm not slating anyone, I'm not dragging anyone's name into it. I'm not into that kind of crap. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I will do it in the future, definitely. So yeah, that is definitely something I'm looking into. I was going to leave it till like later on in the year because I've only just retired from it, and I'm looking to go into more like lifestyle coaching and some sort of consulting. I love simplifying things. I love making things like simple for people and making life easier than what society makes us think it is. So I think society, especially as a female, wants you to struggle and have it hard and think it's hard. And I was stuck in that cycle for such a long time. I didn't ever think I'd actually leave that cycle because I just felt like I was constantly in this like, oh, if it's not hard, it's not right. And people do this with love as well. They think like all this, you know, oh, love is meant to hurt. No, it's not. Like, why would love hurt? You know, love is meant to be painful. That's how like the movies, you know, portray it to us, you know, that if you're in love, it's like constant tears and sacrifice and all of this. And it's like, it's not like that. It doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be, yes, there will be challenges, but it doesn't have to be constant resistance everywhere you go with everything you do. That is not it. And I lived in that constant resistance phase all the time, thinking, because I constantly had society and Facebook and whatever social media platform I was on, it was constant, oh, if you're feeling resistance, it's good. It means something good's happening and it means you're about to elevate and you're this and you're that. And I'm just like, yeah, but how long is this meant to go on for? Like, are you meant to just live your whole life in resistance and difficulty and, you know, misery and whatever is not making you happy? Like, no, I'm not. One day I just woke up and I was like, I'm not living like this anymore. Like, this isn't who I am. This isn't who I want to be. I don't care what Facebook and society are telling me about. You need to be in pain all the time. You need to be suffering and all of this. I just can't be bothered with it. But I don't want that to get any deeper because it's starting to get real deep. That's what I kind of like about live streams, is they can kind of deviate. Obviously, I had a rough idea of what I was going through. I had to tell you guys about my mummy jacking story. And then I obviously wanted to go over like all these industries and, you know, so much of society makes money off of our insecurities. And it doesn't have to be like that. You do not have to be insecure to be like winning in life or for someone to give you praise or some shit like that. That is just not a vibe. You don't have to live like that. You live whichever lifestyle you seem fit for yourself, you deem fit for you. And that's it. As long as you are not hurting yourself or anybody else, by all means, please live a lifestyle that is according to your wants and needs, and whatever it is that is going to float your boat, make you happy, feel like you're going to feel like you're a success or succeeding in life. By all means, guys, continue with that. I am going to love you guys and leave you there because it is right in the middle of the day, obviously over here. If you are over in Europe or in the UK, a very good night. Enjoy your dinner and your evening meal, whatever it is that you're planning to do today. And I hope you have an amazing week coming up. I can never do this. An amazing week coming up, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Bye.